everybody back to this space, back to my home. I welcome you from my heart to yours and wish us all to come through these days a little bit more balanced. Wouldn't that be lovely? So our practice in Move and Meditate today will be accompanied by a mudra. Before we go into the mudra, I will ask you to prepare either a block, a cushion, a bolster, something you can sit on. We won't need it for anything else but to support ourselves seated. And I'll also ask you to have everything ready that you might need for relaxation. While relaxation isn't our focus today, there will be a short pose of resting before we come into the meditation today. We will familiarize ourselves with the mudra after we've found our center or focused a little bit more inwards. So I'm Natya, as most of you are aware of. I will guide you through this practice. Please do come into a seated position. You can choose maybe one leg in front of the other, and if that's not comfortable for you, you can choose a different seated position. Main goal of our seated pose is to be comfortable and at ease. So let's close the eyes once you've found your seat. If you feel uncomfortable sitting in the middle of a space, you can lean your back against the wall. And then let's move around, just as if we just about gotten out of bed. Maybe a bit of a stretch, a bit of turning, a yawn, or whatever else you need to get into more comfort within this seated position. However long it might take you to come to sit, once you do, let's round into the back and just sit back and sink into your seat. Then take a breath in and imagine something's pulling you up on the back of the neck, rising through the back, lifting through the head, and maybe letting your shoulders soften back and down. You can choose to turn the hands up or the palms facing down, while you might touch your index and thumbs together. That helps us to concentrate a little bit more better. So once you've found your position for the hands, and you might consider the feelings that you have around that of comfort and safety, as well as your physical posture. Allowing yourself from here to deepen your breathing. Just allowing yourself to feel the breath moving in and out of the nose and starting to rock the front of the body, maybe a little bit into your sides as well. I will ask you to redirect your breaths down into the belly, letting your belly expand and release at first. So just breathing down into the belly. As you might add Ujjayi technique, so light constriction in your throat. Not essential, just the add-on. Keep breathing down into the belly, and now on the exhalations, let's draw the very lower part of the belly in, then a little bit more, and maybe all the way up. And when you're inhaling, you're softening the belly again. So each time you're breathing out, you're drawing the very lower part of the belly in gently, then the middle, and then the upper part. We're still only talking about the belly, so let's release the belly on the in-breath, pulling in from lower to middle to upper. Try not to get distracted by the background noise. That is a bit unfortunate. I invite you to keep your breaths going into the belly. As you draw the belly in and then up, engaging more deeply. If you like, you can turn this now into full yogic breathing as you're inhaling from belly to ribs to your collarbones. But on the out breath, you're still starting with the lower, mid to upper belly before you're releasing the rib cage and the higher chest. Stay with that for a few more breaths. Finding a balance between the expansion and softness that the in-breath gives you, and the strength and engaging that the out-breath provides here. If you feel comfortable as the breath is or was, if you've stayed with an earlier version of it, please do feel free to just keep practicing that. If you would like to, you can now hold the breath briefly at the end of the inhalation, and I suggest a slight Jalandhara Bandha. So the chin tucking in, the chin lock. And then as you're breathing out, make sure you're lifting the head again as you contract from lower to mid to upper belly, releasing the breath. And then maybe holding that contraction as well as the breath out of the body and the chin lock. And the moment you start your in-breath again, lifting the head. Maybe pausing at the end of the inhalation and then breathing out again. So keep going in whatever way it suits you. Breathing in and out of the nose, engaging, maybe holding. Finishing this round, and then returning to just the breath with the engaging of your tummy muscles, but leaving out the holds of the breath. And while you practice that, on the inhalation, turning the head to your preferred side. And on the exhalation, as you work with your belly, coming back into center. And you relax your belly, turning the head to the other side on the following in-breath. And then coming back to the center on the out-breath. Now do so once more to each side. Once you've completed your very last round, you might choose to open the eyes. If you're trusting your hearing in my words, you can keep them closed, maybe even through the whole practice. As I invite you to open the arms, as you take a deep breath in to open your heart, and then rolling the arms forward as if you're diving and curling through your back. And then keep the elbows soft through the whole movement as you inhale, open. And as you're exhaling, rounding. Stay with that. Breath is either full yogic breathing or jai breath. One round like this. And then let's reverse that. While you're breathing in, lifting through the arms, rolling the shoulders back and down, and then bring them forward again. So there's less rounding now, more arm movement as you inhale, open, extending. As you exhale, bring them back forward. You can extend the arms all the way if you like, or remaining more soft. Go for one last round from here before releasing your fingertips down by your sides. And if you like, it's about time to change the cross of the legs. As we take a breath in, only to lift the right arm, and you might lift your gaze into this hand. And as you're breathing out, come into a side bend. From this side bend, roll the arm and shoulder in, and place the back of your hand against the thigh or the knee. Lift yourself tall while you allow your left hand fingertips to slide behind your back. And then breathe out for a twist. You can gently look over your shoulder if you like, increasing a bit of length in the neck. And as you come out of the twist, just letting the hands drop back down by your sides. Let's inhale to lift the left arm. And if you like, you can look into the palm of your hand. And when you're breathing out, going into the side bend. Gaze is not that important, just a suggestion. As we release that rolling arm and shoulder in again, placing the back of the hand against the knee or the thigh, lifting yourself up tall, sliding your fingertips behind, and as you're breathing out, deepening into the twist. Again, you could look slightly over the back shoulder. And coming into the center. Releasing the block that you've got or whatever you've been sitting on. And coming up onto your hands and your knees. Spread out your hands. Ground through the shins, the tops of the feet. And then extending your right leg back. Toes are tucked under, foot is on the ground, and we're pressing out and back into the heel. Then lift up through the leg as you breathe in. Point your toes and breathe out as you draw your knee to your nose. Let's do that again as you're extending out through the heel, lengthening, maybe a light lift off your gaze. Then point, and on the out breath, bring your knee to your nose. We'll go for one more, so let's flex the foot as you inhale to lengthen. And out breath, bringing the knee to the nose. Now as you're extending the leg again, ground it. So the foot is down, the heel is pushing back. If you like to work a little bit stronger, you can lift the other knee off the ground, finding yourself briefly in a blank position. Then lower both knees back onto the mat. Take a breath in and lift your left arm and look up. And while you're exhaling, let's thread the needle. Get a big reach through before you might choose to lower down onto ear and shoulder. And if you would like to deepen that, you can extend the right arm. And maybe wrap that behind your back, keeping the shoulder back and your gaze safely along the floor. Lifting the arm again from behind and placing the hand down onto the ground. Push yourself up to a fours. We will change sides. So while you're again strong in legs and arms, we will extend the left leg, keeping the foot on the ground, just pushing a little bit out through the heel. From here on the next inhale, lifting the leg, Pointing the foot on the out breath, bring your knee into your chest. Extending out to the heel as you breathe in, a light lift of your gaze. Pointing the foot and out breath, knee to your nose. And then again, as you're extending out to the heel, your in breath. Pointing out breath, knee to the nose. Now, I'm not good at counting as it appears today. So once you've completed 3 rounds, tuck the toes under, place the foot back onto the mat. Same option as before. This is enough. If you're really engaging into the body, it's perfect to hold with one knee to the ground. But you could lift up into a full plank if you like. Getting a sense of tailbone drawing towards the heels to engage the core fully. Then bring your knees back down onto the mat. And while you inhale, lift your right arm. And on the exhale now, threading the needle, please reach as far as you can. And then maybe landing down onto ear and shoulder. And if you would like to extend that more, you can lift through the left arm and wrap that behind your back, rolling the left shoulder back. Gaze stays along the floor. It's for the safety of our necks. And to release it, lift the left arm again. Place the hand down, push into the floor, and then just sitting back towards the heels. While your hands are reaching forward, keeping the palms of the hands on the mat, just stretching forward into the fingertips. Let us bring the elbows down and then slide along the mat so to lie down onto your front. You can choose to rest either your chin down or the forehead. Let your arms come along the sides of the body, but turn the palms onto the ground. Hold them here and even pressing them into the mat. As you take a breath in, just to lift your right leg, keep the pelvis on the floor, and lower back down on the out breath. Lifting your left leg, inhaling, and exhaling, release that. And as you breathe in now, lifting both legs. Maybe lifting the head and chest, and maybe also lifting the arms. If you choose to go to the full expression of this shape, spread out into your fingers. Lift the thumbs a little so the shoulders remain open. Stretch back into your toes. One more breath. And then release with your hands down by your sides. Push into the mat and find a wide-legged child's pose as you open your knees to the edges of the mat, touching big toes together and sinking back towards your heels. You can use your arms as a cushion for the head, or you can rest the head to the ground. I would ask you to come into a moment of stillness, allowing a gentle breath to flow while you're drawing your awareness within. Allowing yourself to be. Noticing if the mind is wandering, and see if you can find the soft balance of each breath. And then extending the arms again, lifting up onto your knees. Bring the knees a little bit in, tucking the toes under. And we're lifting our hips up, if that works for you, into one downward facing dog. So allowing the quality that you need from this down dog to unfold. It might be that you need steadiness right now, or it might be that you prefer to lengthen out individually into the legs by paddling them out. If you're choosing the movement rather than the steadiness of this pose, you might add a swing into the hips. And then walking, that's for all, the feet forward to the front end of your mat. Allow yourself just to be within the forward fold. Your knees can be soft here, but I invite you to lean the weight just slightly forward within your feet. So you're finding that forward fold, where the tailbone is nice and high. The whole arms and shoulders can be relaxed. The head and neck quite heavy. Now let's wait for an exhalation and actually activate pelvic floor and abdomen and start rolling up on your next out breath. Once we're coming up into standing, I will step a little bit closer to the camera so you can see the mudra more clearly. I will ask you, and that is below, the left hand pointing upwards with the palm, the right hand going over the top, and then hooking all your fingers up. As you place the tips of your thumbs together, turning the thumbs to face towards the ceiling. I hope that makes sense now. As we place that mudra down in front of us, I will invite you to stand with your feet a little bit apart, to bring a little bit of softness into the knees and to create a pull between your hands and arms. And as you're next exhaling, pull a little bit more to your right and allow a twist of the body. As you're inhaling, come to center and then pull a little bit more to the left. Inhale, come to center. We do that once more to each side. This is Varaka Mudra as we release that softly. I will ask you to take a deep breath and lift your arms. And then as you bring your hands to your heart, stepping your right foot back. So we've got a warrior one stance. Returning to the mudra, left palm up, right palm down. Hook up your fingers, thumbs are touching. Now on the next out breath, as you pull on those hands, pull towards the open side. Inhaling, come to center, and exhale, pulling towards the closed side. I will ask you to release the mudra here, to open the arms, to even lift a little bit through the back heel, and then stepping your feet together, hands at heart. Let's inhale, lifting the arms again. As you bring your hands down to heart center, let's step the left foot back. So again, a warrior one stands, both feet on the ground. Once more, the same mudra, left palm up, right palm down. Hook the fingers in, touch the tips of the thumbs, relax your shoulders, and have a light pull. As you're exhaling, pull a little bit more on the left side. Inhale, come to center. And then a bit more on the right hand side as you're breathing out. We're holding here. And you can release your mudra as you're opening the arms. Maybe lifting through the back heel. And then stepping forward as you bring your hands together again. Releasing the arms down by the sides now. Keep your stance. Steady your gaze. But unlock your knees. Just out of the lock so you can feel the connection down into the ground, into your feet. Ask you to shift the weight lightly to your left and lift your right heel off the ground so the knee is bending. You can stay now at any stage, maybe lifting the knee, maybe hugging the knee into the chest. Maybe taking a hold of the knee with the right hand, opening the left arm to the side, and a breath in to open the knee as well. Bringing your knee forward as you change the hand on it. As you inhale, opening through the right arm. And then exhaling to guide the knee across the body. Bring knee to center, lower, and arrive in mountain pose with the knees just slightly out of the lock. Try not to fiddle around, just be here. Notice that there's differences very likely between the sides of the body. As we're changing sides, lifting through your left heel, so bend into the left knee. Perfectly fine to stay, or lifting the knee, or embracing it and hugging it into the chest. Next option, left hand on the knee and a breath to open your right arm. Waiting for the next inhalation to open your knee. As you bring your knee back to center, changing the hand on it and a breath to open the other arm. And while you're breathing out, guiding the knee across the body. Bringing the knee to center, lower the foot, release your arms. Let's take one deep breath as you're stretching up and maybe arching into the back. Then let's bend the knees and the thigh out to fold. And then find your way down to sit on the floor. Extending your legs out softly to the front, making sure there's space behind you as you lower down. And you can go gently or use your core, that's up to you. As you find your way down onto your back, resting the head down, the feet stepped onto the ground. Allow yourself a couple of breaths here to arrive. Eyes can be open and steady or closed. We will start by bringing our knees loosely over the chest with the hands around the knees, either cupping or just holding on. And we'll flex the feet for the inhalation to extend the arms. And with that, the legs move away, and we're pointing the feet on the exhalation, bringing the knees in. Now, flexing the feet, inhale. Push the legs away by straightening your arms, point the feet and the breath out to draw the knees back in. Stay with that movement for 3 more breaths. Flexion as you inhale, pointing as you exhale. When you completed your rounds, you will keep the knees here. You will slide the hands just lightly a little bit lower than your knees. And now while you're taking a breath in, you're flexing your feet, extending both legs towards the ceiling. Then you're pointing, hands coming up, and we're squeezing the knees to the chest. Now while you inhale, flex your feet, extend your legs to the ceiling. Light inversion 2, and then pointing the feet as you're hugging in. Repeat 3 more. Don't go too fast. Keep your slow, deep breaths flowing. When you complete it, I invite you to step your feet down again, just for a moment. Relax your arms. And maybe checking then whether you've got enough space to extend your arms fully behind your head. Or more or less fully. Bring your arms back down by your sides. We will leave the left foot grounded. We will flex the right foot. As on the in-breath, you're extending the leg on or just above the ground, maybe higher, and your arm extends over the head. Then point your foot, and as you're breathing out, grab your knee and squeeze it into the chest. Flex the foot. Inhale. Extend the leg and arm over the head. Point the foot and exhale, draw it in. Now, if the leg just above or on the ground causes you trouble in the back, please just simply extend the leg a little bit higher to avoid that. Go for 2 more. Flexion as you breathe in, arm extending over the head. Pointing and the breath out to draw the knee in. This is our last one. So we're stepping the foot back to the ground, releasing the arm. Reflect for a moment on the sensations. Before we repeat this movement pattern on the left. So starting with the flexion of the left foot as you extend the leg out long, extending the arm over the head. Pointing the foot and on your out breath, hugging your knee into the chest. Flex the foot. Inhaling, extending leg, arm moves over the head. Point the foot and a breath out as you're drawing the knee in. Continue that. Inhaling, extension, and you know your options now, still the same as on the other side. Pointing as you're breathing out to draw in. Just 2 more. Inhale, extend with the flexion. Point as you squeeze in. Then release the foot to the ground. Relax your arms. Your choice is to stay with your feet on the ground and let the knees drop in towards each other, the arms rolling out, the palms open, the shoulders soft to the mat. This is our resting period, so if you prefer full Shavasana, you can slide your legs out long and let them roll apart so the toes are dropping outwards. Do get cushioning if you prefer that, finding your comfort. As you close your eyes, tune back inside where there's the gentle flow of breathing. It might still feel a little bit imbalanced. Don't do anything about it. Just acknowledge that the breath is flowing and how it finds its inner balance and harmony when the body is still and motionless. Ask you to slowly deepen the breath, maintaining a sense of inner harmony. without disturbing yourself too much. Maybe just a little bit of movement that is required for you to rise into a seated position. And from that seated position, getting into comfort once again. The comfort of maybe sitting a little bit higher than the floor or leaning against a wall. I do encourage you to sit as we go back to our Varaka Mudra by placing the left hand down in front of us with the palm facing upwards. We're bringing the right hand over the top with the palm facing down, only to hook up all of our fingers and then to place the thumbs or the tips of the thumbs to touch. Leave the tips of the thumbs pointing up towards the ceiling. Relax the elbows in by your sides, soften through the shoulders, but allow that gentle pull, as if you were to pull your hands apart. Not very strong, so it's sustainable throughout our meditation today. And to begin this meditation about the Varaka Mudra, I'd ask you to tune in with the mudra first. There is a fairly strong energy you can feel from it. And even if that's just the physical energy that you're feeling, that pull, the resistance from both sides. Maybe it takes you a little bit deeper into the energy of it. Holding your mudra, with each inhalation, let your breath flow upward along the front of your body. And with each exhalation, it flows smoothly down your back, creating a circle of energy that naturally harmonizes your entire being as you breathe in over the front and out over the back of the body. Taking time to sense this circuit of energy, flowing in synchrony with your breathing, instilling a sense of equanimity that you integrate into all of your activities. In through the front, out through the back. To sense greater equanimity within your daily routine, visualize yourself at the dawn of a new day, creating an intention to maintain balance at all times, places, and in all situations. Taking a few moments to sit in peace, welcoming all that this new day might bring, but understanding that everything has its own purpose and meaning within your journey. Visualize the people and events you may encounter through this day, recognizing that some interactions may be smooth and easy, while others may be challenging. You create an intention to meet them all with equanimity. You remain aligned more easily with your essential equanimity by constantly remembering that life is a field of learning in which every interaction has its own place within your journey. As you prepare for your day, you review your plans and expectations carefully, honoring the importance of sincere effort in achieving your objectives in the best possible way. At the same time, you recognize that the results you receive may be very different from what you've envisioned initially. By resting within your circle of equanimity, you can allow the results of your actions to unfold naturally, with less attachment and anxiety, knowing that everything that happens has its own meaning within the larger picture of your life journey. As you prepare for your day, you also recognize that equanimity does not occur immediately. There may be moments when you begin to lose your balance and ease due to the pressures of daily living. With a sincere intention to remain aligned with your true being, you become aware of the first signs of imbalance more easily. And rather than becoming impatient, critical, or demanding, you reconnect with your essential equanimity. Now envision your day drawing to a close. Your sense of equanimity may have been challenged, and your composure may have risen and fallen. But you have developed the ability to return to your circle of equanimity. If you like, you can silently or aloud repeat 3 times after me. Attuned to my essential equanimity, I embrace all that I meet along my journey. Attuned to my essential equanimity, I embrace all that I meet along my journey. Attuned to my essential equanimity, I embrace all that I meet along my journey. Release your mudra, but keep your position and the internal focus. Taking these next few breaths to rest completely within your circle of equanimity. Allowing yourself a deep breath as you're reaching the arms out and up. And then touch the palms together and gently draw the hands down to your heart center. Lightly bowing the head as we focus on our inner equanimity. Space of inner balance from which we're extending to each other. Namaste. I thank you for joining me here for this practice, and I hope that you have a chance to practice this in your own time. Maybe even repeat it to really incorporate, especially the meditation, into your life. To respond to that happens in our lives with more equanimity. I love to see you again. very soon, maybe in the studio.